The wind smelled of blood and rot. Geralt of Rivia had smelled both before, but rarely this strong without a corpse in sight.
Lower Sodden was a place that had been burnt, rebuilt, and burnt again until even the ruins had given up. He arrived at dusk, cloak heavy with swamp-damp silver sword crusted with dried ichor.
Villagers stared but said nothing, not in fear, in calculation. They knew what a witcher was, but they also knew what the local lord paid them to pretend didn't exist.
The notice board was empty, not clean, just scraped bare. No parchments, no pins, no string, just claw marks and a faint scorch at the top right corner.
Something had come through here, something smart enough not to leave witnesses or paperwork.
He went to the tavern anyway, a hovel of crooked beams, moldy hay, and wet boots. The ale tasted of moss. The stairs were worse.
Then he saw her.
She moved like someone used to being unseen, not afraid, just used to the idea that eyes passed over her. Brown cloak, simple dress, ink stains on her cuffs.
Not a peasant. Not quite noble. Something in between. She served drinks without ever touching a cup, and she didn't flinch when Geralt looked at her.
You local? I'm passing through, like you. Don't look like you're going anywhere fast. Don't look like you're the talkative type either.
They left it there, as strangers do.
That night, someone slipped a note into Geralt's saddlebag. No name, no coin, just a location. North Keep Ruins. Come before it spreads.
He left at dawn. No one watched him go, but the girl was gone from the tavern when he passed by.
The keep was a blister of stone and shadow on a ridge that should have collapsed years ago. No birds, no wind, just the crunch of his boots and the slow grind of tension behind his teeth.
Old glyphs marked the gate, not elven, not human. Something older, twisted by heat and hate. The kind of writing you feel in your bones before you see it.
Show yourself, he growled. Nothing answered, not yet.
He stepped inside. The shadows pulled at his senses, too slow, too quiet. Like the keep didn't just resist presence, but recorded it. Every step echoed in his skull.
Down a corridor of broken statues and burnt banners, he found a hall with melted stone at the center. No signs of magic cast, just residue. Like the air had once caught fire and stayed that way.
You took your time.
You followed me, Geralt said without turning. Didn't trust the locals to warn you properly, or at all. You're not just a barmaid. Didn't say I was. She stepped into view, holding a lantern that flickered in 3 colors at once. Geralt's hand went to his silver blade. Not drawn, not yet.
I'm Branwen, Oxenfurt scribe, or was, before the fires, before the flame.
What flame? The one that speaks without heat, that watches through stone. The pale flame.
The floor beneath them cracked, not caved, cracked. Like something beneath had shifted and didn't care who heard.
Geralt moved in front of her. Instinct. She didn't protest. He lit a sign. Ard. The air didn't push. It recoiled.
It knows we're here.
From the walls, a shape began to pull itself free. Not a wraith, not a golem. A figure made of soot and lightless fire, walking without heat, burning without flame.
Back!
Geralt swung silver. The blade cut through the form like mist, but the mist screamed. It didn't bleed, it didn't die, but it felt the steel. He pressed the attack.
Branwen pulled a vial from her cloak. Green, etched in symbols not taught in Oxenfurt. She threw it. The figure twisted, screamed again, and vanished through the wall.
Where did you get that? You wouldn't believe me.
He believed her anyway, because his medallion still trembled, and the flame hadn't left. It had just gone deeper.
They left the keep without speaking. Night fell faster than it should. The path back felt longer, wilder, as if the keep had marked them both.
And somewhere beneath the stone, the pale flame waited. Not dead, not forgotten, just watching. The pale flame did not sleep. It waited in stone, in heatless hollows, in the words Branwen never spoke aloud.
Geralt sharpened his blade in silence. Not silver, steel. The kind meant for things with bones and mistakes, not ash and memory. He wasn't sure it would matter.
Branwen didn't speak either. She stared into the fire, not warming herself, just watching. Like if she blinked it might vanish. Or she might.
You said you were a scribe. I was. Then how did you know what that thing was? Because it knows me.
The silence after that had weight, not discomfort, anticipation, like something else was listening.
We need to go back. Why? Because it didn't attack to kill. It was watching you. And because whatever it is, it's tied to you now.
There's a place, in the lower vaults, where it first spoke to me. She didn't ask if he'd follow. He didn't offer assurance. They left at dawn, when the fog was thick enough to muffle thought.
The keep didn't welcome them. It accepted them. That was worse. The doors opened before they reached them. Dust settled after they passed.
It remembers the shape of me.
They descended into the archives, shelves like ribs, air thick with spores and static. Scrolls lay scattered, burned at the edges. Not fire, friction, like they'd been read too hard, too fast.
I came here to copy texts during the war. The locals feared the place, said it was cursed. I thought they meant old magic. But the words, they started changing after I wrote them down.
Show me. They reached a chamber sealed by melted stone. Branwen touched the wall. It shuddered, then parted, softly, like skin under a knife. Inside, bones. Not human, not elf, not anything that should have had joints like that. A pedestal stood at the center, holding a book that never opened the same way twice.
I didn't summon it. I just read the words, and they read me back.
Back away. It's awake. The flame returned. Not light, not heat. A shimmer of subtraction. Space rearranged to accommodate what should never fit.
You knew it would come. No, I knew it never left.
The pale flame whispered, not in words but in memory. Geralt saw Kaer Morhen collapse in snow. He saw Yennefer fade into smoke. He heard Renfri ask again, "Do you believe in destiny?"
It showed Branwen too, a burning scriptorium, pages that screamed when torn. Her own hands inked with names that weren't hers.
Back. Erden. The sigil lit. The room warped. The flame recoiled, but not in pain, in pleasure.
It likes the struggle.
Figures began to crawl from the walls, constructs of melted ink and bone fragments. They hissed her name, Branwen, as if tasting it.
What are they? Parts of it, warnings, or bait? Geralt moved through them like wind through ash, steel and sign, cut and burn. A dozen fell, but more came. There's a word. In the book. A last page. It never lets me read it. But I think it's its name.
Then make it listen. She stepped into the flame. Didn't burn, didn't vanish, just flickered, like a candle inhaling. Branwen.
I see it. I see what it wants. It doesn't want to destroy. It wants to be known.
The constructs paused, their heads tilted, waiting.
She whispered the final word, not aloud, in meaning, and the pale flame folded.
It didn't die. It entered her, or maybe she entered it.
When the light faded, she stood alone. Geralt lowered his blade. The keep fell silent again, but the air still bent around her shadow. Branwen didn't speak for a day and a night, not out of shock, out of translation. She was still learning what the pale flame had shown her.
Geralt didn't press. Witchers know better than to chase meanings before they're ready. But he watched. Every breath she took bent the air, every shadow curved slightly wrong.
Do you feel it? Like the world's out of sync by half a heartbeat. They didn't return to the village. They didn't need to. The village came to them, burned, silent. Every structure collapsed inward, like the air itself had forgotten how to hold shape.
A child's doll lay at the center, unsinged, staring. Branwen picked it up. The cloth stitched into its chest read, "Speak kindly, listen long."
It's spreading faster now. Can you stop it? Not stop, rewrite. They headed north, toward the font of ash, a site untouched since the conjunction of spheres. Legend said it bled molten fire when elves still walked as gods. Now, it was just dirt, dry, cracked, waiting.
Along the way, they met no one. No beasts, no birds, only echoing footsteps where none should be, and ruins that hadn't existed yesterday.
The pale flame doesn't destroy, it rearranges. It remembers the things we forget and asks why they were forgotten.
You sound like a priest. Don't insult me.
The font appeared without warning. One moment, trees. Next, stone, carved with symbols that pulsed faintly, like breathing scars. Branwen stepped forward. The glyphs flared.
You sure about this? No, but I'm sure there's nothing else.
She knelt, began to write with her finger into the ash. Not words, not spells, just meaning, intent, reversal through redefinition.
It's reacting. Because it remembers me, because I gave it a name, and now it wants more. From the ash, shapes formed. Not threats, not allies, just fragments, memories from 1,000 minds stitched into form. They circled her, watching.
They're waiting for an answer.
Geralt stepped beside her, drew his blade, not to fight, to ground the moment in something real.
This next part, if I fail, kill me before it finishes writing itself through me.
No. Geralt, I said no. If it finishes, I'll drag it into the dirt myself.
She smiled, just once, then pressed her palm into the font.
The glyphs erupted in silence. No noise, just pressure, like a scream held inside a dying star.
She saw everything. The first words etched into bark, the last scream of the last unicorn, the lie that started the first war, and the pale flame, a record, a reckoning, a question asked by the void itself.
Branwen, I'm here, I'm not lost, and neither is it.
The ground burned, but did not char. Light poured upward, then folded, then vanished. Branwen collapsed. The glyphs dimmed. The silence ended.
He caught her. She was cold, but alive, eyes closed, breathing slow. Her hand still twitched with language.
Days passed before she woke. They camped in the ruins of what had been the font. Nothing grew. Nothing moved. But nothing broke either. It's gone, she said, but not erased. Shelved. Geralt nodded. The way a witcher does, without understanding, but with acceptance.
They left the next morning. No farewells, no destination, just a road that still remembered how to lead forward.
And far below, in a vault no map could find, the pale flame sat, quiet, curious, and unwritten once more.